Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Joseph, and today we're going to do Hood, Outlaws and Legends. Finally, I got to play it for a couple hours and what I thought about the game. But before I start, thank you to all you guys. We finally hit 1,000 subscribers on this channel, and I couldn't do it without your support. But we're here for Outriders, right? So let's get right into it. I'm going to give you just basically my impressions of the first couple hours that I played this game, so do take that into account. And of course, I had a very polarizing video with over 20,000 views. I was very surprised of very mixed feelings about what I said about this game. Some of those things stayed, some of those things changed. Let's see what they are. And starting with the graphics, I actually think once playing the game, the graphics are actually pretty good. Running on PS5 at 60 frames per second with ray tracing, it did look nice, but what really stood out and kind of made me enjoy it more is the art and world design. I thought every map I played on and every character looked good. And they had some nice details on them. There was a bunch of places to hide and many pathways to go through, and it really felt organic to the setting that they're doing. Of course, it's not Ghost of Tsushima, but it's also a cheaper price game, so there is that. I think it looks good when you're actually playing the game in full resolution than that YouTube streaming quality where it can kind of distort the image, of course. The beginning phase of each match of figuring out where the sheriff is and stealing the key, grabbing the chest, can be absolutely exhilarating, especially with a team that chats and works together. So I just love the whole 3/4 of each match is absolutely fantastic. The animations, I do take it back, guys. The animation is actually pretty good, and I thought they were, don't get me again, they're not amazing. They're good, they're decent, they're nice. But I think it's the controls itself that feel tanky, and some of the animations feel tanky, and I'll explain a little bit later what I mean by that. And another thing I want to point out, which I kind of already mentioned, is when you have a team that chats, the fun factor goes up dramatically because you can cover one another, you can assist each other in combat and planning, you can sneak in, steal the chest, and start wenching it without ever being discovered. However, once the wenching begins, so does the chaos, unfortunately. Now, the caveat, guys, again, I want to say this is my opinion. I don't want to see 500 comments of people attacking me, saying, oh, you're an idiot or you're a retard or whatever you want to call me on my last video for just having my own honest opinion. Look, we're here to agree to disagree and just have a discussion. That's what I would like to have with you guys, not to have an argument fest. And if you don't like that opinion, it's really pissing you off that much, just click off, all right? That's it. It's that easy. But what I'm trying to say is not to shit on the game. It's honestly what ways I think the game can improve overall, but we're gonna have to see how it kind of develops as we play more and kind of get to know the game more. Of course, a lot of these things will change. Starting with close quarters combat, I think pretty much sucks because there's no real strategy to it. There's strategy to sneaking, there's strategy to taking the chest and covering each other. But once you get to that last point, I feel like it's just complete chaos. And it's partially because the movement doesn't feel fluid and responsive. You can't get out of attacks quicker. You can't block fast enough. And some of the attacks keep you in animations for too long. I feel like there should be a very rock, paper, scissors approach to this combat, no matter what character match up against each other. If you're facing two guys, I should be able to run away. If I'm facing one-on-one, no matter what character I play with, I should be able to take them on if I'm smart about it and I know my character well. I know a lot of people don't feel this way. I felt the hunter is weak in all aspects except stealth. So in the last phase, the character is not as useful because you don't have some of the perks that would kind of really boost up the character. Maybe once I boost her up and put a couple perks on her, she'll be really cool. At the moment, it's like I charge up 3 bolts and hit somebody with it in the chest, and it takes away maybe half the damage for the brawler, not even, maybe like 1/3, where I think it should take away most of the health, if not kill a ranger, because it does take a little bit to charge up each bolt, and then you have to be quite precise with it as well. Whereas the ranger headshots, which are much easier to pull off and charge, I feel like he's just a better character for the long distance fighting. Hunter has to be a little too up close for her to do any serious damage with those bolts. The brawler felt a little bit more balanced, a little bit more useful, I would thought, because he's able to raise the gates, he can fend off against multiple melee characters, but his he becomes very vulnerable during heavy attacks, so much so on a constant basis. When I ever do a heavy attack and I try to hit somebody and it misses, the other person can easily just walk around me, duck, and take me out with a assassination. Maybe I'm just still again learning the game, but I'm giving you my feelings on it, what I've encountered so far. And I've been doing actually quite good in this game. I won some, lost some, got quite a few kills with both enemy and AI players, so it's not like I'm garbage in this game. I'm not the best player, but take that into account as well. And I feel like any character, when they run out of stamina, are basically useless. You can't run away. You become super slow. The animation for, you know, like the feeling of a character being able to turn around and quickly get away from the other characters is just non-existent. The dodging is very dodgy, so to say. Blocking is like, you know, it's there, but when you have no stamina, there's two people around you, you're not going anywhere. So I feel like there needs to be balance. I believe it needs to be a little bit more balanced. So at the very least, the person can run away if they can't really engage in the fight. And I think it's partially because animations lock you into place after attacks, especially something like the hunter's roll, which for me misses a lot and leaves you open for attacks constantly. And she's quite easy to take down. I think she has the least amount of health or close to it. So it's kind of pointless. She doesn't really do well up close in physical attack because her combos are really slow. And she doesn't really do well in ranged attack because she has to be quite close to do a ranged attack, while the other person can kind of zigzag and run up to you and just take you out. And I also feel like she becomes the weakest link in the group. But again, it's maybe something I have to learn how to play with this character. I do take that into account. But I think my biggest problem with this game right now is really the last phase, which is absolute chaos with no strategy, because any strategy you had goes out the fucking window. Because you could plan to have, have a plan that's completely perfect. You steal the key, you steal the chest, nobody found you. You even bring the chest to your extraction point without any problem. Start extracting it, it gives enemies the location you're at, everybody starts charging at you, and let's say you even extracted most of it by yourself or with a team. You die at the last second, the team runs in, finishes it up, and just wins the battle. I think it's a little bit silly, and I think it's not fair. And I feel like wenching, maybe partially we can solve it by having wenching be a little bit faster with less phases, but the enemies, your enemy team can take, when they take it over, they actually have to bring the wench down and start their own to make it a little bit more fair, so that you have to do as much work to extract it as much as the other team. Especially with the combat, I think, being a bummer, it needs a little work. Something is off. I feel like you should have the ability to fight off multiple characters if you're smart. And with these tanking controls, they kind of stop you from doing that. However, I will point out that if you're wenching most of the way, you're receiving gold at each point, so it's not all bad. Like, it's not like you don't get anything at all. You do get experience, you do get gold throughout the match, so there's some rewards for you. You're not going to be completely frustrated with nothing there. I will say this again, AI is stupid, and I stand by that. They just have a lot of health, and some of them are quite difficult to kill, even with a hunter, if you're not stealthing on them. So I was right to say that they're more of an obstacle than a challenge, because they're not going to be chasing you like human players. And I thought that would be actually interesting, giving the other enemy team something to fight as well as you, and having equal challenge with both guys. I thought it would be pretty cool. But those were my basic points. I know it sounds like I have more negatives than positives to say, but it's more of because I actually like the premise. I enjoy the game. I like it. For 30 bucks, I think this game is worth it. I don't think you're going to lose much. It gives me very much Friday the 13th feels, where it has like a very unique and novel premise that needs to be worked on and improved. But hopefully what happened to Friday the 13th when it died doesn't happen to this game. And it's going to happen through, I think, our support by saying what's wrong with it, which this video I've done. I don't think it's just negative, but also that it's good game, it's supporting it and buying it. And I don't think the premium edition is worth it unless you're just absolutely fascinated with this game when you first start it up and you're like, I have to have everything in this game. Then I think you should go for it. The beginning, pay the 30 bucks, check it out, see if you like it. And I'll also stand by another thing I forgot to tell you guys, is that if people don't chat in this game is not that fun. That it's nice that you have the point and click, that you're able to tag enemies, but it's just not that fun. When you're able to tell each other how to cover, it's a whole different beast. So if you have a team to play with, it's really going to affect how you play this game. But most people on this game so far have been using mics. We'll see how it's going to be a month down the line. But those are my basic thoughts. I would like to hear from you guys what you thought on this particular game so far, or what my impression of it as well. Do you agree, disagree? Let's have a discussion, not an argument. I really don't want to have that again. As much as views my video got, I loved it, great. I don't want that. I am here to talk about games and uplift games and how they can be improved rather than just shit on things. So please, when you go on my channel, do a little bit, be a little bit nice, and don't just shit on me. That's all. Guys, take care, enjoy the rest of your day.